Alright, for today's episode, we're going to try to bring you something a little bit different. It's early May in Ohio, so obviously fish are going on beds. We're going to try to teach you how we sight fish. There's 1,000 different ways how guys sight fish. So a lot of guys use drop shots, little baits.
Done that.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm more comfortable using like a big 3/8, tungsten Texas rig, and kind of flipping, hitting them, getting them mad, and you got to figure out that sweet spot. So those are little things we're gonna try to bring you, and show you today. It's a little bit difficult because they are underwater, but we're gonna teach you, how we do it.
Right. So not all spawning fish can be caught. Like if when I'm in a boat and stuff like that, some of the biggest mistakes that I see people do as soon as they get up there, they see the fish, they pitch to it. They don't watch what the fish does. So I'll sit there sometimes for 5 minutes and watch the fish.
Absolutely.
And then I can tell if I'm gonna waste a half hour on him or an hour. Sometimes you don't even get him a bite. And that comes from experience of reading the fish and stuff like that.
And just like he said, every fish's temperament, it's different. It's almost like a human. Some like, you'd be hit with a bait, it gets them mad. They get aggravated real easy. Some you can hit them with your bait and it, kind of offends them and they'll swim away and don't come back for a while.
Right.
So every fish is different. There's no true hard fast way and this is how you're going to catch him right away this instant. So what do you mostly use for your bed fish?
I use usually a white pack and crawl or any white crawl type bait. Another good one is, Strike King's got that low range, but I use that a lot. I use 3/8, something small. The reason why I use white so I can see it when they eat it.
Yeah, that is not because the fish want to see white. It's for ours, like he's saying packer crawl, I use Venom's Dream Crawl. It's got big pinchers, real easy to see, and it stands up in a fighting position. And a lot of times you'll see these bass, basically they're running bluegills and different fish off their bed because they're trying to eat their eggs. That is why they get so territorial this time of year, and they're sometimes easier to catch than others.
Exactly.
Another little tip I'm going to give you, I use 20-pound tests. Sometimes you can go lighter and makes your bait fall a little bit different. But as you can see with Jim's rig, is he has his hook all the way to the end of the bait. A lot of times when you're bed fishing, those fish will basically come in and just barely nip the tip over.
Take the curls off.
Exactly, because they just kind of grab it and move it off the bed. So that is one tip I will give you, to make sure you use a hook big enough to go through all the way through the bottom of your bait. That way if they do just nip it, you get it.
Yeah, this is a teeny pack and crawl. No, that's baby pack and crawl. Teenies are even smaller. So that's what I like to use a lot. A lot of the biggest mistakes that people do is they wait to throw at the fish. And basically what I like to do, the fish will swim off, I'll throw it out there and I'll have it sit at the edge of the spawning bed. When the fish comes back, he looked at it right away instead of not spooking it as much. So every time he swims up, I've got the bait back in there.
They'll see their emotion out of the water. You'll see when a fish reacts when they see you. That's why a lot of guys will get, the sun behind them, so basically fish don't have eyelids.
Right.
So they're looking, they don't have, Oakley or Costa sunglasses, so they're looking right into the sun, so it makes it a lot harder. That's why you'll see guys position their boat at times, the sun behind their back, so they can see the fish better and the fish can't see them.
And then talking about sunglasses, you gotta have a good pair of sunglasses. And I like a glass lens, and the reason for that, these ones here are Costas. They're made for sight fishing. They're retail about $250. But they're a glass lens. A glass lens, you can grind them down and get the most sharp and clearest vision with them. A polycarbonate would be about 100 to 150, but they're not as clear and as crisp as what the glass lens is. The only downfall about a glass lens is you set the hook miss and it comes back and hits you in the eye. You can bust the glass lens.
So we don't do that today.
Right, no, not today,
One other thing you see with Jim's, he has his sinker pegged. This makes it very nice because you can basically put the bait exactly where you want. Unfortunately, if you have where your sinker's not pegged, you know, you flip in there, your weight may land over here where your bait's going to be over here. So with it being pegged like that, I know exactly where that hook's going to go, where that bait is going to land. You know, I can put it right on the sweet spot of the bed. Hopefully we can show you that out here today, and basically just sit there. And the biggest mistake I see guys make when they flip it into a bed, they'll have the rod and they'll start shaking it like this. You don't want to move that bait at all. The easiest way I found is basically you just take that line and just barely.
Don't tell all the secrets.
I gotta give it a little bit of juice. Just barely twig it with the line, and this will make your bait just sit there and dance, but it will not move the bait. And you'll see the fish, they'll start inching towards it, and you can tell when they start to get frustrated. A lot of times I'll flip a straight shank depending on what I'm flipping, but a lot of times, like I said, I'm gonna be flipping a crawl style bait.
I got a white EWG on this. This is a 1/0 is what I put on it, and you know, 3/8 is what my favorite weight is.
That's my go-to, 3/8, and
Texas rig it, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. Let's go try and see if we can get this on film, and hopefully we might catch one or two.
Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. So stay along. We'll go give this a shot.
Yeah, that was.
Well, that's a big one.
Very nice 3-pound male. We made it look really easy. It's usually not this easy, to be honest with you. Usually you got to work for quite a while. And in the mouth, you should see the female out there. She's trying to come in.
So, as you guys probably heard in the video, we said, "Oh, here he comes, here he comes." You saw Jim's crawl was already in the bed. So when that fish came back into the bed, it saw the crawl, and as soon as it saw the crawl, he hopped it just a couple times. Fish ate it right away. That's what we were saying by, you know, not waiting till the fish comes back into the bed to pitch. You already have your bait there. It doesn't startle them. They come back into their bed and they're like, "Hey, what is this intruder?" Perfect.
She ain't gonna bite now. She ain't gonna bite.
So that was the female.
Alright, legal fish in the mouth.
So that one was pretty easy. You seen how territorial he was. Almost. Alright, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. So I kind of wanted to get in depth and explain on exactly what you guys just saw. So as you can see, those were two different males on two different beds. The first male was very aggressive, stand your ground, very dominant, didn't like anything any remotely close to his bed. You could see his, his fins start flaring very quickly. That tells you a lot about his attitude, that he's very, you know, he's on it. He's locked, you know. So basically, as soon as Jim flipped in there, that fish ate it. The second fish was a little bit different, a little bit larger of a fish. You know, the first time Jim flipped in there, that fish actually swam away. So this is when we were telling you about reading, you know, the fish. So these fish were obviously two very different. One's very dominant, one's a little bit more timid, a little shy, could have been messed with by other fishermen before we got there. So Jim left the bait in its bed, and he was using that line trick I told you, where he's just kind of popping, pulsating the line, you know, making your pinchers dance and everything without actually moving the bait out of the bed, because the bed always has a sweet spot where they actually will lay their eggs. So he had, you know, that bait sitting in his bed, and when that fish came back, saw the bait, he's pulsating it. See, the fish kind of doesn't react at first, and then, you know, he goes right over there and eats it. And this is what we were saying by reading the fish. You know, that's how we knew that we had to kind of leave it in that fish's bed for it to actually eat it. The biggest thing I can tell you guys is just go out there and do it. Go to ponds where you can see and fish for them. You know, sight fishing is, there's no hard, set, fast way. This is how you catch them all the time, and that is what, you know, excites me about it. You know, I learn by just doing it. But like I said, our setup, I usually 3/8 tungsten. Make sure you have it pegged. You know, that way your sinker's not over here and your crawl's floating somewhere else. 99% of the time, I'm actually using a Venom Terra Crawl. They make these in a couple different sizes. What I like is I use a smaller version just so I can get, you know, my hook all the way to the back, because you'll see a lot of times fish will actually just kind of suck in the back, and what they're doing is kind of don't really want to eat it, but they're carrying it off their bed to get it away because they think it's a predator. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Biggest thing, if you can take anything away, is, you know, learning to read the fish and what their mood and dictates on how you're going to fish for them. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you know, definitely drop us a line. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll get you guys on the next one.